I know one man who is a master of sports in wrestling, but he doesn't work in his field. He's just a businessman. I ask him, how do you relax? He says, I relax like this, you won't believe it. I go to the gym when I'm really tired from work. I go to the gym and start wrestling. And when I'm almost defeated, I need to break free from this position. I shout loudly, tense up, try to break free, and during this time, I relax. And this is a fact. A man relaxes during intense physical or mental tension, though it may seem strange, but he relaxes because the energies change and redistribute. He becomes rested and feels good. A sauna is good relaxation for a man. Going to a steam room is also a good way to rest. You need to search for your methods, your ways. But if a man has bad habits, the most important thing is not to worry. Let's say, I smoke, it's fine, nothing terrible. Why do I smoke? Because I don't know how to relax. You need to learn how to relax. Once you learn to relax, you'll gradually quit smoking, but if you don't worry about it at all, then you'll continue smoking and develop lung cancer. This is not a way to live. Living with a cigarette is not a way to live. Living with wine is also not a way to live, because wine relaxes the will, and a man doesn't become happy, because a man is only happy when overcoming himself, and wine doesn't give the opportunity to overcome oneself. Because you drink and relax, but overcoming yourself means overcoming obstacles, so a man should relax when he has won. Not just trying to forget himself. Alcohol means you forget yourself, lose yourself. Vodka is forbidden female energy. According to the Vedas, it's the same as loving a woman, so is vodka. This is female energy which is not permitted because another woman gives relaxation, but this relaxation destroys your life. So does vodka or wine give relaxation but destroy your life. Therefore find such methods of relaxation that don't destroy life but make you strong, robust, stable, developed, successful. Every man deserves to be wealthy, strong, powerful, influential. Every man. It's just a question of lifestyle. If lifestyle is correct, 5 years pass and you have a different life. It's a question of lifestyle. Every man can be strong, everyone can be a winner. The male body is designed for this. There are no unhappy men. There are men who don't know how to live correctly in their male body, want to live like women, want to enjoy more, lie in bed, relax, watch TV. They don't want to work on themselves. This means there will be no male happiness. The next topic for men is the topic of overheating. Many men don't know that the body overheats in almost all men, so men need to eat raw roots, beets, carrots, parsnips, in order to strengthen the male body. Specifically raw salads from roots. It would be good for men if about half of their food would be raw, because raw food cools. Men often experience infertility. And 90% of this infertility is caused by overheating of the seed. So that the seed doesn't overheat, a man needs to eat raw food and simply do morning runs and be outdoors more. And the seed cools down. Overheating of the seed also happens from excessive indulgence in sex. When a man has a lot of sex, all energy goes down, and heat arises in the lower organs. This heat reduces the strength of the seed. The seed becomes weak, therefore one shouldn't get carried away with this, especially since it reduces willpower. A man becomes dependent on a woman, starts to strongly depend on her mood, argues with her. There should be some limitations. One shouldn't endlessly get carried away with these things. They destroy life with excessive abuse. What is male beauty? Male beauty is strength, calmness, responsibility, and the ability to endure a woman's emotions. How to determine if a man is ready for family life? If a woman is nervous, having a tantrum, and you endure it, it means you're ready for family life. If you start to have tantrums with her, it means you're not ready. You need to become stronger. When a man is ready for family life, it means that he gives a woman the opportunity to be a woman, and at the same time is able to endure her. This means that he is a mature, strong man. A woman respects a man precisely for this, for being able to endure her emotions. This is the main criterion. And second, keep your promise. A man shouldn't make big promises to a woman. If you made a big promise, it means you'll have to fulfill it. If you didn't fulfill it, it means she will continue to torment you. A man should make small promises, always fulfill them and grow stronger through these promises, become stronger. Often men think that we don't need children because we don't have money, don't need a wife because I can't support her. This is incorrect thinking. Take a wife. Along the way, you'll become able to support her. When a man faces difficulties, he develops very quickly. A child is born. Immediately money appears because you become stronger. If you allow yourself to be weaker, then you don't develop. You just need to become strong through difficulties. Take responsibility. Don't be afraid. It's very important for a man to know that if a woman asks for a child, it means during this period it's very favorable for her to conceive and give birth. She stopped asking for a child, it means an unfavorable period has begun. Favorable periods for women come in cycles. 3 years they ask, then follow 3 years when she'll be having difficulties. If she asks, it means you need to conceive a child. She has a good period, she will carry easily, give birth easily. If a man doesn't understand this, it will be tough later. If a woman conceives a child when she has a bad period, it's very dangerous for her health and for the child too. Therefore, you always need to take into account her desire, look, observe her, because otherwise there will be difficulties. If a man is knocked out, a man falls into depression. It's very difficult to get out because men have such very rigid cycles. So if you're knocked out, what to do? There are different options that are very effective. I'll give you an example. I already started to engage in spiritual practice. We decided to go out into nature to pray, and we went to some island. There, Volga River forms many islands. Sandy shore, many islands are formed by the current. We came to an island. There was a sandy slope. I dug myself a place like a small cave. It was cool there. I sat down and started praying. I could see everything that was happening on the shore. I couldn't be seen from the outside. I was sitting praying there, and I saw a guy come. He touched the water, stood there for a whole hour, probably. He didn't swim, didn't do anything, and then turned around, looked at me, and got scared. He stood looking at me, and I was praying, just sitting motionless, not paying attention to him. He came up and said, "Help me." I said, "How should I help you?" He was about my age. He said, "I use drugs, already at such a stage that if I stay alive now, I will live badly. My liver is sick. I want to drown myself. I can't. Don't have the strength to kill myself. I can't live without drugs anymore, can't quit because of severe withdrawals. I don't know what to do. I want to make some serious decision, but don't know which one." I said, "Go live in a monastery. There will be no withdrawals, because withdrawals mean there's not enough energy of happiness, and in a temple there's enough energy of happiness and you won't have withdrawals. You'll survive there, and everything will be fine in your life. That's the solution." He said, "Which monastery?" I answered, "Choose. What is your faith?" He told me about his faith. I told him about monasteries. He chose one. I made arrangements there. They accepted him. Everything was fine. I didn't know his future. But when I came to that city to give lectures, one person approached me. I didn't recognize him. Probably 5 years had passed. Such a happy person, a monk, approached me and said, "You saved my life." I thought he was going to tell me how he listened to the lectures and so on. I expected him to say, "Thank you for the lectures." He said, "I didn't listen to the lectures. I just did what you said once." He reminded me again of this whole situation, and he said, "There were no withdrawal symptoms. It was a miracle." I started praying, living like them. I simply forgot about drugs. There were no withdrawal symptoms at all. It was great. But later this person passed away, just a couple of years ago. What I'm telling you happened 20 years ago. He lived for another 15 years after that. He lived a great life as a monk. He prayed all his life and passed away earlier because his liver was already completely damaged. He still suffered, but he lived to about 45 years old. And he lived a happy, good life for those 15 years. But I'm saying that it's best for a man to upgrade his life when there is a favorable environment for it. For example, some monastery or some trip. There are tourist, sports trips. There are many different options when a person doesn't belong to themselves. And it's best for a man to upgrade his life when he doesn't belong to himself. He just went somewhere, got into some environment, and there he just starts doing what everyone does. After 2 weeks or after a week, he completely changes his life. You can do this periodically. I know there are such options in Moscow. There is a Vedic monastery in Moscow, and there is a program called Weekend Monastery. Men come for the weekend just to live like monks. 3 days of getting up early, prayers and everything else. A person simply upgrades. His psyche restructures to a different life with the help of other people, and then it's much easier for him to maintain it. For a man to lift himself up, to pull himself out of depression, is not easy. At least you need a companion with whom you do something together, make agreements. In one city there is such a group of men. They made themselves a schedule. All winter they went swimming in an ice hole every day. They read prayers for an hour every day. They are Orthodox, but they go to the Good People Club. They made such a schedule for themselves. That's how they lived. They reported to each other, reported to me, asked for blessings. And the guys say that their life has changed in everything. In business, in relationships with their wives, in health. Everything in life completely changed just because they made this schedule, because they performed healing practices and began to live correctly together, because it's very difficult alone. They started living together like this, forced themselves to live like this, and their lives simply became great. They are also satisfied with strong, happy faces. Real men, you can feel the masculine strength flowing in them. Someone found a wife as a result. When a man becomes strong, women immediately respond. They see such men. A man approaches me and says, "How do I know when to get married?" I say, "Do women look at you?" He says, "No." I say, "Then it's too early." He says, "Can they start looking?" I say, "Become a man, they will look. A boy is not needed by anyone." He understood, and everything changed in his life. Male body means you need a male life. If you don't want to lead a male life, you will be a weakling. No one will need you. You will be unhappy in everything. Personal life, self-development, money. You will be unhappy in everything. Only strong people are needed by everyone. The weak are not needed by anyone. Now more details on the topic of relationships. From a man's position, how to relate to relationships, there is a lot to understand. A man needs to understand that a woman's psyche is very, very fragile. On the other hand, she is very strong inside, but she doesn't feel strong herself. She feels very weak, sensitive. And if you don't feel her that way, it means she is experiencing a lot of worry, suffering, unhappiness. Respect for a woman literally means treating her like a feather. And interestingly, she doesn't behave that way with herself. She doesn't communicate with herself as with a feather. She needs others to communicate with her that way. For example, I observe my wife. When she goes swimming in the sea by herself, she goes calmly into water without problems. But if she's with me, she immediately fears the waves. She says, "Help me, I can't go in." This is when she's with me. When alone, she's not afraid of anything. I observe her. She enters the water calmly, swims. I asked her, "Why are you afraid when you're with me, but not afraid without me?" She says, "I don't know. I want support, protection, and when you're nearby, I weaken, become weaker, and I need you to protect me from everything." This is a woman's nature, and you shouldn't torture or blame her for it. This is her happiness. When a husband is nearby, she needs to lean on him, needs to be afraid of everything, needs to be capricious, needs to worry, and so on, so that he constantly calms her down. This is female happiness. She feels happiness when she is treated this way. Therefore, you need to be very careful with a woman. It seems like humiliation for a man at first. In fact, there is no humiliation. It's just a sign of intelligence, maturity. A man behaves very carefully, caringly with a woman. "My dear, most beautiful, most affectionate." When a woman is being capricious, starts being capricious, you should say, "You are my most calm one. What do you want to tell me? Explain. But you are my most calm one." This is perceived as a joke for her. She immediately starts smiling. But you shouldn't joke with a woman. If you behave affectionately with her, it's like a joke for her. You can say it affectionately as a joke. But if you start joking with her rudely, for a woman it's not a joke. Women don't understand crude jokes at all. For example, you tell her some anecdote. It's unpleasant for her to listen to it at all. She walks away. Because women have a very strong aesthetic sense inside their psyche. Their aesthetics are very strong. And therefore, when she hears any small, subtle rudeness, it's immediately unpleasant for her. Many women cannot, for example, watch movies about war. Don't show blood and all similar things in front of a woman. She can't see all this. Because a woman creates life, she gives birth to lives, therefore she cherishes life. She can't look at killing, at all these things. So don't try to entice her into this. It's useless. If we talk about interests, men often worry a lot. Why do I have one set of interests in the family and my wife has others? Why can't we be together for a long time? Why are we so different? This is a question of knowledge. It turns out that men and women always have different interests. They cannot have the same interests because they are completely different people. A woman has female interests, a man has male interests. A woman can run with you. How does my wife run with me? When I first started running 2 years ago, she ran with me because I ran very slowly, was out of breath, and stopped periodically. And we managed to do it together normally. But then I started running more. Now I can run up to 15 kilometers. We run together differently. We go out together, start running. Then she gets tired and walks. I run ahead, then run back. And so I run around her all the time. That's how we run together. She walks, I run. We have a joint run. To tell a woman run as much as I do is insanity. She decides for herself how much to run. She runs as much as she can. Don't force a woman to get up early, run, perform healing practices. When she is inspired, she does it herself. If she's not inspired, she doesn't do it. A woman's psyche is very dynamic. Today she can, tomorrow she can't. A man can always do it. Don't compare one with the other. We have different bodies, different psyche. How a woman eats. Don't force a woman to eat. She doesn't eat, she tastes. And don't force her to eat on a schedule, because a woman eats when she lacks mental strength. When she lacks strength, she has a little snack. All she needs is to eat one tasty thing, and she gets strength. She takes the taste from food, so she eats a little bit, tastes. She tastes, but if she doesn't like the taste, then she shouldn't eat it. You shouldn't force a woman to eat something she doesn't like. If you decide to buy a gift for a woman, God forbid you buy it yourself, it will be a complete disaster, because you'll just waste your money. Let me give you an example of how I bought earrings for a woman, my wife, in India. First, I saw in meditation what kind of earrings she might like. Then I selected 40 pairs of earrings that she might like, photographed them, and sent the photos to her over the internet. At first, she kept denying that she wanted earrings at all. Then I said to her, "Let's buy them for my sake." But not all women refuse gifts. Some, on the contrary, are pleased. The more gifts, the better. Everyone is different. Anyway, only 2 pairs were suitable. It turned out that 1 pair doesn't suit after all, and she wears the other one. The idea is that simply buying something and expecting her to like it is just unrealistic. So it's better not to try, and God forbid you choose the color of wallpaper yourself and give it as a birthday present. That would be a complete disaster. She will never forgive you for the rest of her life, as she'll have to look at that wallpaper every day. So it's better to choose a gift together with her. Be honest, just say, "I want to buy you a gift," and go to the store to choose it together. There's simply no other option. Ladies, raise your hand if you like everything that a man has chosen for you. Raise your hand. Look at the auditory. Only one lady raised her hand. Do you have a man?
To be honest, it turns out that I don't.
Let's give her the microphone. We'll talk now. This is a good joke. Only one raised her hand. Now we'll listen to what she meant. Bring the microphone closer. So whatever a man buys you, it fits and you like it.
He's very smart with gifts.
Very expensive gifts, right? And you just like that a gift is given to you.
Yes.
You simply like that a gift is given to you. Do you wear it?
Yes.
This is a very rare case, a very rare case. Anyone else, honestly, ladies, raise your hands, who also just received a gift and you like it and you wear it. Are there any more such women? There are 3 more, 4. And who doesn't like whatever gift they receive? Many more women. And how many of you would like a man to consult with you about what to buy as a gift? You see, now there's a forest of hands. This is exactly what I was talking about. How a man should discipline his wife. You need to understand that a woman doesn't tolerate any violence. You can't talk rudely, you can't talk strictly, no violence, you can't pressure with your voice. The only way to discipline is to accept something. That means if she does something wrong, you need to accept it, relax, pray, and calm down. Make sure everything is calm, good, and then simply explain kindly. When she's ready to listen, just kindly explain that you would like it to be the other way. You don't necessarily have to say that it must be done this way. You should say, "I think this way is better. I have such a desire for it to be this way." And then she will hear. It's not difficult for a woman to hear. It's difficult for a man to hear. Very difficult. He cannot hear what someone wants from him. It's not difficult for a woman to hear, but it's difficult to talk to her. If you can find the right intonation, the right tone, and speak in a way that is pleasant to her, then she will easily understand you without any problems. But it's not easy for a man to get into such a state to explain everything correctly. So you have to get into the right state, calm down, then explain. Otherwise, it's better not to say anything at all, because it will get even worse. If you explain incorrectly once, and then start to explain correctly the second time, she will already be irritated. Even if you explain correctly, she will still be nervous and think that you want to commit violence against her. Men, what questions do you have?
Hello, Dr. Torsunov. Thank you very much for the lecture.
Thank you for coming.
I have a question. I'm currently in a relationship with a woman, and she doesn't know what she wants. She has very high standards.
A woman you need to mature for, right?
Yes, she's worried about this.
She has such standards, she's worried but can't help with anything, right?
Yes, she's worried and afraid whether I can achieve all of this. I'm confident in myself, so I promised her that everything will work out.
Everyone has the same issue, yes.
Will I be able to manage everything?
It's the correct tactic, promise her. Promise that everything will be fine. Then you'll calm her down after you get married, saying not everything at once. There is a very important point. If a woman wants something, it's destined for her by fate, and what is destined will come through you. And you'll see later how she will pour strength into you so that you can do it. She will give you her strength. Don't worry if she wants to be with you. If she likes you, then promise her. Everything is fine. But the most important thing is not to take responsibility for a woman. And again, don't rush with this. You're dating, and you should feel when she already wants to formalize the relationship and propose to her to get married. If you don't propose at that moment, she becomes disappointed in you as a person. After that, nothing will charm her anymore. It's over. If she sees that you don't want to protect her in life, then the relationship is destroyed. It's very important in relationships with women not to become a pawn. That means don't become too weak. It's normal if she shows off in front of you, because she needs to see that you want to be with her. You have to prove to her that you want to be with her, but at the same time, if you become too attached to her, dependent on her, she won't respect you and won't love you. For a woman to love you, you need to be stronger than her character, be a little independent. Sometimes, for example, spend time alone without her so that she misses you. She will blame you for this, but she will respect you more for it. If you always dance to her tune, she won't be happy. She will get tired of you and feel that she's uncomfortable with you. You need to be strong. Don't depend too much on the energy of love. Be careful, be attentive so as not to depend too much. If you become too dependent, running after her, watching where she went, what she did, if you constantly control her, the relationship will be destroyed. You need to be stronger than the energy of love, depend on God, on self-improvement. You need to be strong. You should have some purpose in life, then everything will be fine. And about making promises, it's like in the song, "What can I give you, my dear? How to thank fate? I will give you maybe this dawn." There's nothing I wouldn't do for you. So the most important thing is not to lose yourself. A man shouldn't lose himself. You need to be stronger than female beauty. Requirements from a woman mean that she wants to live. A woman was born for happiness. She wants happiness. Who will give her happiness? A man. That's what she thinks. She looks at men and thinks, will this guy give me happiness or not? She doesn't think that she should give happiness to herself. You should give her happiness. And you shouldn't think that this is unfair because she gives you beauty. You don't give her beauty. You don't have beauty. She does. Therefore, you should provide her with prosperity. Your question.
Thank you very much, Dr. Torsunov, for the lectures. The following question. When I took up spiritual practice, life changed. A goal has appeared. I feel I have a purpose. I want to strive for this. As I engage in spiritual practice, many thoughts appear about how to implement this. There are many projects that could support this goal. Many people come who can help.
You are an ideologist by nature. You have many projects, goals, desires. You need to consult with practitioners, people who will make it reasonable. They will sensibly tell you about all your desires. This is possible, this is achievable, this is unachievable. You need practitioners. Otherwise, you will destroy your life.
The question is related to how to implement all this in practice.
You are not a practitioner by nature. You are an ideologist who works not with people but with projects. You have a scheme, a picture of how it should be. You need a person, a friend who will implement. And you need to develop to that point. You need to become such a person that this practitioner would like. Practitioners are very skeptical by nature. They like few people. They will examine you.
As I understand, does this mean deepening in spiritual practice?
You now have a certain imbalance. Spiritual practice for a man means prayer combined with practical life. If a man moves away from practical life, he kind of falls out of society. There are men who avoid responsibility under the pretext of the temple. They don't develop there as individuals. A man develops as a person when he leads a social life. He takes responsibility for family, for a woman, for children. And such men, in my experience, develop faster than those who hang out in temples. They become more mature, more reasonable, more developed than those who have their heads in the clouds. They continue to walk in the clouds for the rest of their lives. One such person approached me. He had been engaged in spiritual practice for 30 years. He was 50 years old, and I was 35 at the time. He came to me for a consultation. He was 50 years old. He was older than me. I hadn't been engaged in spiritual practice for that long then. He started crying, saying, "I've ruined my entire life. I was only engaged in renunciation. I now understand that I need a family and a wife. I'm not young. I don't know how to build relationships with women. I'm weak. I have no practical occupation, no specialty, nothing." He was in complete loss because he thought that spiritual development for a man means only renunciation. but spiritual development for a man means prayer and socialization. To be socially strong, to take on projects, tasks, and responsibility. Never leave society. If you leave it, then it becomes like a drug for a man. It's like a drug in the form of a temple, and the result is that he simply loses time for personal development. A man should develop in society while being spiritually strong. This is male nature. It's a characteristic of a man.
But I want to develop in society. All projects are aimed at this.
Then everything is excellent. Yes, everything is good. You need to find yourself a practitioner. Don't go further into projects. You need to go into relationships, learn to create a team, find a person who would restrain you, tell you sensibly what is achievable and what is not. You need to find a person of a different, opposite temperament and cherish this relationship. A man in the second row wanted to ask. Go ahead.
Hello, Dr. Torsunov. I'm very glad to be present at your lecture. This is the first time I've attended your lecture. For the last 6 months, I've been watching and listening to your lectures on the internet. I have 2 questions. The first concerns a personal relationship.
You don't handle your wife's emotions. You get too close. You are very close to her, very dependent on her, and suffer from her emotions. You need to learn to keep a distance, be firmer, perform healing practices, become stronger to withstand her psyche.
I thought the whole problem lies in those who guide her. She can be guided by her relatives with whom I cannot get along.
Now, this is a great question, a typical situation. Who guides the wife? A wife is guided by those whom she trusts, and this is normal. Let's say a wife is guided by my lectures. This can happen. She listens to lectures. My lectures guide her. This is normal for a husband. You need to start listening to lectures and build relationships according to the lectures, and then you will guide her, not the lectures. The same with relatives. They guide her because she trusts them more. The best way to build relationships with relatives is to negotiate with them.
What if it looks like humiliation?
You see, you don't know how relationships work. You don't know what male strength is. Male strength is in the ability to indulge your wife while not losing yourself. You need to understand that you will have to give in to a woman in life. You will have to yield, and then she will begin to respect you, obey you. You will have to give in, but now you are fighting for the rights of power. This is a very big mistake because you don't need to fight. Power is always yours, you are a man. She understands that power is yours. But if you fight for power, she will never give it to you. She can give it when you don't fight. She will come to ask you about everything herself because she will feel that you don't torment her, don't bother her. You need to understand what your sphere of influence is and what is hers. For example, you can't do anything about the way she lives. Only she can make a decision because this is her desire to enjoy. You cannot stop a river. If you make a dam, she will flow over it. You can't make a dam. You can turn the river, but not immediately. For this, she needs a foundation. She needs to understand that there is more happiness there. She will flow there herself. For this, the river banks must be stable. She needs to feel that she is leaning on them. Now, the main problem is that you are fighting with her for power, but power should be given to her. No need to fight, and then she will trust you, not relatives, because relatives gave her power. They do as she wants. And you should give her power, and you will be the main one for her, not relatives. To learn more on the subject of health and healing of the body, please make sure to read my health guide, available for download on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page. Thank you very much, and see you soon.